Lot of mercy. Mama. One ride, sir. I'm just passing through with Anthony Brothers trip, and he's not leading the trip right now. But we had we're doing now. He didn't come. He's touring. Cause I was with him and opened up at the UAM. But we just passing through. First time I'm doing this trip with them. I was with the Moors before. Todd Tariq Bay, big up to you all the time. And just Bravo TV all the time. Don't forget Ashraf Kwesi is coming in New York at Brooklyn, New York, Nicholas, Brooklyn on November 20th. So we'll be there with Baba Ashraf Kwesi. Of course, the debate December 18th will be off the hook. I will be there. I'm the MC. I'm one of the producers. Sign at the TV, all the crew. And Phil Valentine, I got him coming in February for my anniversary, and he'll be there live and direct. Phil, it's called the title is The Revenge of the Metaphysics Underground, coming in. So Phil is coming in large. So kick me up, KingSimonProductions.wordpress.com or King Simon Productions on everything, Twitter, everything. All right, love you, Baba. Yes, support, lot of mercy.
In terms of the Moors, listen, there's a good Moors brother that's one of my neighbors, down the street, and we have these conversations all the time. In terms of the land, listen, the land that we come from was the most ancient term I've been able to find, all right? The most ancient term I find was called the land of the blacks. No specific name for a whole continent was that I can find doing my research. And that's not to undermine Doc being in a cable land. I'm saying doing my research. So in terms of the land base, the land of the blacks. In fact, the term Ethiopia, was referred to the term as the land of the blacks. And if you go get you a map from the 1700s or the 1800s, a world map, and look at how the land is named. You have the country of Abyssinia, and all the land south of the Sahara is called Ethiopia. In fact, what is now today called the South Atlantic Ocean was called the Ethiopian Sea or the Ethiopian Ocean because it's referring to, again, the land of black people. Even though if you break the term down when it comes out of the Greek, it actually translates the burnt face, the land of the burnt face people is what it actually meant. So was there a time that have we always been called Moors? Are the Moors the direct descendants of a tribe of Moabites, which means Mo? No, I don't think so. The term Moor actually comes from a description of black people. More meant black, as how one looks, not what one's tribal name was. Hey, before the Moors, though, that did invade Spain with General Tariq and hold that land under their rule from 715 AD to 1492 AD, they did call themselves Moors, as such. And when they left Spain and Portugal, the lands that they established when they came back into North Africa, Morocco and Mauritania were created after they retreated out of Europe. Those lands weren't named that before they retreated out of Europe. So people have a misunderstanding of the details of history and trying to put something that happened after the fact as if it was there at the beginning. But like I tell the brothers, look, when we say the brothers of Mano Patata down in Southeast Africa built this, you can go down there today and see the walls that's still standing from that ancient empire. When we say that people in the Nile Valley civilization built these certain things, you can go find them today, what was built there. Now, it is true that when the Moors were in Spain, yes, they built some temples, and they built what essentially is the University of Granada. They did do some building. But where else, if the Moors were here in this land hundreds of years before the white man got here, show me one rock that's left from any building that they erected. See, you have to have historical evidence to support your claims. And for some brothers, hey, I want to feel good about our ancient history and the history of what happened to us up until the time of the captivity. But you just can't make stuff up and make it real as such. So when you say Moors did this, if you're saying that blacks did this, if you're using it in that context, you're 100% correct. But if you're saying these very specific tribes of people who organized under the banner of being the Moors that were in Spain and came back and established Morocco and Mauritania, then you're dealing with a specific time segment in our history. And that time segment in our history was not our whole history as such.
Were they lapdog flunkies for the Arabs under Islam?
Ooh, man, gee. Well, that's a, yeah, okay. Well, what is true is that Islam, we know where Islam started with the Prophet Muhammad, like in Medina, in Saudi Arabia, like, and there in that part of the world. And as Islam spread out of Arabia, the Islam spread across to North Africa, and the North Africans did subordinate themselves to this religion that started amongst Arab people, to that degree. Now, when we're coming to dealing with spiritual, to say that there is one God, and we subordinate ourselves to that one God, it's an idea that wherever you are, it sounds intelligent, and one would want to say, okay, we're going to go along with this. But let's understand one thing, that the war cry of the Muslims was, like, bend down and subordinate yourself to Islam or die. So the choice was to become a Muslim or they was going to kill you. See, that's how Islam spread so fast, so far, and so wide. It's not like people say, oh, that's a great set of religious principles. I think I'm going to adopt that. That is not how Islam spread out of Saudi Arabia, across to North Africa, and then all the way across Asia, out to the Philippine Islands. It spread through conquest. They came at the point of the sword. And for those who didn't submit, they killed them. That's how Islam spread. So in that context, the Africans did not create Islam, and those brothers who became Moors and practiced Islam in the Moorish way, they did so under the guidance of what was coming out of Baghdad and Saudi Arabia. Yes, that was the real center. I just don't, the way the brothers used the term, I would say yes, because it was a lot of Moorish soldiers that captured a lot of Africans and took them down to the coast in West Africa and sold them into captivity. If look at a lot of the pictures, because there's a lot of drawings, you don't see a lot of pictures of these brothers wearing these red kufis with their tassel on it. That were the guards guarding the Africans that they had, had sticks, had them hooked up through tree branches, locked together, their hands tied behind their backs, marching them down to the coast to sell them to the slave traders. So yeah, in both East Africa and West Africa. And in fact, if you really want to get deep, Islam started enslaving Africans as early as 800 AD, beginning with the Islamic invasion of Egypt. And in fact, the island off the coast of East Africa that was called Zanzibar was the main place that the Africans captured in East Africa, was taken from Tanganyika. What was the name of the country before it became Tanzania, combining the name of Tanganyika and the island of Zanzibar. They brought them from the land base and they took them over to the island, and from the island of Zanzibar they were transported and sold into slavery all over the Arab domain. And so yes, Islam has had a thing against black Africans since its inception. It is true. And for brothers who subordinate themselves to that in that type of rule, all you got to do is ask them today. In fact, there was when the war was going over there in Darfur, that it was documented that the Arab that was attacking the Africans over there was calling them ugly monkeys and shit. As they was killing the black folk, like in northern Sudan. So the attitude that Arab Muslim have against pure black Africans is a negative one today, except for those that will go over there and subordinate themselves to them and kill people in their name.
Question. I'm going to make it simple. Any thoughts on evolution?
I'll put it like, all right, at one time, I was a sperm that just went into an egg. Then I was a zygote, however they pronounce that term, right? Then an embryo, and then a baby, and then I was birthed, as a baby, and now I'm a grown man. I evolved from that sperm entering that egg into what I am now. That's one way of describing the process of my becoming. That's a way of explaining it. Now, if you're going to ask me, do I believe that portrait or that drawing that's on the wall down in the National Museum on Constitution Hall, the National Museum of History on Constitution Hall, where you have these ape and monkey-like things down on the wall and down on all fours, and then they come up, like in the last thing in that line is a white man. So the white man in his National Museum here in America, down on that wall says he evolved from ape into a human being. That's his story. I take the posture of what's written on the temple walls, like that forevermore and for everlasting we have always been men. That's I don't think the human type, evolved out of a pre-existing animal. See, for me to believe that. Yeah, I'm talking the original of the original. Yeah, the original man of this earth, the black man. Again, I'll say this. Everything that is natural to the surface of this earth lives in harmony with the sun. Everything that is natural to the surface of the earth lives in harmony with the sun. If you stay out in the sun a long time and the sun starts killing you, gives you diseases, and start doing stuff to you, then you must not have been here on the earth walking around like I have for millions of years. So if something happened, you are a different kind of being than I am as such. Now, did an alien create you? Was the story that Malachi York's boys tried to tell people that Anunnaki came down in Sumeria and and used genetic engineering and created human beings? Or that idiot who comes on that show, Ancient Aliens, trying to say that they think genetic engineering created, humans. Maybe it might have created that human because that's the only human that is out of harmony with the rest of us. 3/4 of the people that's natural to the surface of the earth all look like us, melanated people, wherever you go. Say it's only one kind of man on the surface of this earth that the sun will kill. And if anything is alien to the surface of the earth, it's him. But do I believe in just outright evolution in terms of how that's discussed in colleges and university classrooms and other things? No, not in that context. I don't believe that. I believe that our humankind, have been our humankind during our whole existence.
Well, what do you say to people say everything evolved?
Well, when you're using the word evolution, and that's why I started out explaining that I evolved from a sperm and egg to me. That you want to call it development, whatever term you want to use to describe the process. Yes, I did that. But if you're asking me, was I once a monkey, and over a period of thousands of years or millions of years, this monkey ape like Australopithecine, or whatever term you want to put on it, turned into human beings? Show me the evidence. All you've shown me is that you found some bones of some things that you call Australopithecine. You ain't showed me no Australopithecine that could talk, that could write, that could build anything. All you found are some bones, and not a whole lot of them at that. Now remember, with the European trying to discover the origin of stuff, remember at one time he thought that the oldest bones he had found was in China. So there was Peking man. And at the time, so from about the 1920s up to the 1950s, the theory in college classrooms that the original man was the Asian man.
Right.
There you go, because the oldest bones they found was in Peking, China. When the Leakeys was in East Africa and they found some bones there in East Africa, they want to say what they call Lucy, right? Or the one before Lucy, that they had found something that's a near human. But they only found a few bones. Yeah, near human. So they don't want to call Lucy a full human, not a Homo sapien sapien.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of what they call academic scholarship proposes information or theories. Mm-hmm. And a theory is not a scientific fact.
Right.
And I don't get caught up over somebody's theory based on a little bit of information.
Right.
See if you go along with
what
that.
Is the evidence?
Yeah, what is the evidence? Put your evidence out. Let me examine the evidence. If the evidence is solid or valid, then I will draw a conclusion. You know, like
we dealing with something that's true and exact. That's a theorem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's right. Well, all right. See, I understand the scientific method. Sometimes you propose stuff, or theorize, and then you start doing your research and work to try to prove whether your theorem is correct or incorrect, whether it's valid or invalid. I will stop.
I want to I just ran into this brother here in Malcolm X Park. I'm elated. One of the baddest promoters. Him and brother Sinetta, brother King Simon. Give Baba TP a few words. I know you're busy.
Lot of mercy. Baba. Wagwan, sir. I'm just passing through with Anthony Brothers trip. He's not leading the trip right now, but we at we're doing now. He didn't come. He's touring because I was with him and opened up at the UAM. But we just passing through. First time I'm doing this trip with them. I was with the Moors before. Taj Tariq Bey, big up to you all the time. And just Baba TV all the time. Don't forget Ashraf Kwesi is coming in New York at Brooklyn, New York, Nicholas, Brooklyn on November 20th. So we'll be there with Baba Ashraf Kwesi. Of course, the debate December 18th will be off the hook. I will be there. I'm the MC. I'm one of the producers. Sinetta TV, all the crew. And Phil Valentine. I got him coming in February for my anniversary, and he'll be there live and direct. Phil, it's called the title is The Revenge of the Metaphysics Underground. Coming in. So Phil is coming in large. So kick me up, KingSimonProductions.wordpress.com or King Simon Productions on everything, Twitter, everything. All right? Love you. Baba. Yes, support. Lot of mercy. I got to run over here. Thank you, brother.
All right.
My brother. Hey.
No doubt. When we hand it back to the elder.
The first time I'm meeting.
I wanted you to finish your point. You were still
That's
you
no
were
problem.
speaking theorems. You was
Yeah, well, again, yeah. See, for example, the theory, these talking about this space program as an example, they're theorizing it's going to take them, a long time to get to Mars. They want to send something there. They don't know. Once they get out there, based on the scientific knowledge that they have from inner space, they're designing something to go out and travel outside of this bubble that we're in, inside of what I call Newt. We're sealed in here in the Earth's atmosphere. Yeah. Once you get outside of the Earth's atmosphere, science says that the laws out there are different than the laws down here.
For sure.
So they're theorizing how fast they have to travel, how much fuel they need to propel the ship they're going to be in so far in so many days. They don't know. Based on sending some probes up, they have some idea.
Right.
But once they
put a hypothesis,
they can make a hypothesis. All right. So they're theorizing what it's going to take. Again, it doesn't become a scientific fact until it happens.
Right.
As such. Right. There you go. I mean, it's not like when for example, the theorem of the right triangle.
Okay.
Mathematics. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Actually, I don't know why white folks call it a theorem. Because in 2400 BC, written in a papyrus, that formula is written, all right, that is a right triangle, as such, and the proof is in the pudding. You put the 3, 4, 5 onto the ABC, 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16. 9 and 16 equals 5 squared, which is 25. So that's not a theory. That proof that works itself out. But when you have a missing element in whatever you're proposing that might be the reason for something or how something might happen, but you have a missing element, all you have is a theory. See, the fact that they don't have a being in between the Australopithecine really and a human. Standing side by side. See, they don't have Australopithecine that can use some words, and things of this nature. So they say, well, we can't find nothing, so this must be the answer. Or that 90% of our genetic makeup is the same as that of the ape family. 90% of us out, 10% is different. So because 90% is similar, that means we must come from each other. That's a theory. There's no scientific proof for that. That's what they theorize.
And we still no humans have evolved into apes in recent times.
There you go.
We're still not evolving.
We ain't seen
evolve into an old men,
Yeah,
and you pass on to the
then
next life.
there you go. Like, hey, it's like I'm in the sunset years of my life. I know on the horizon what's before me.
Right.
Like I don't see, like no pill.
Right.
I don't see no magic person coming from somewhere just manifesting itself and tapping me on the head and say you're gonna live for none of that kind of stuff, right? Scientifically, I know the human body reaches a certain point and it stops.
Right.
That my spiritual essence is going to return to the original source of spiritual essences.
Okay.
That's the divine one. That's where it's going back to. That's my theory.
Right.
I ain't been there to see it yet that I can recall in my active consciousness.
Okay. How would you describe your spiritual essence?
My spiritual essence? My spiritual essence is made of the same essence of the divine that created this whole thing. Everything that we see is a reflection of the divine. Right. That's the divine is in that tree. The divine is in this soil. The divine is in those birds. The divine is in that.
And everything in between it.
And everything. The divine manifests itself in different forms. As a spiritual essence, like the divine is just that. In order for the divine to see what it can become, the divine said, and then look what the divine has manifested itself as. All of these different things. The only way that the divine will get a report on how all this is working is when our divine spirit goes back and reunite with the one. See, and so we are messengers on this side of the veil also. It's not just waiting for something to come over and do something to us, but we got a job to report back to the divine what was happening when we was on this side.
Right.
See, for those who believe in reincarnation, if you don't do it right, the next time there's a vessel available for your spirit to re-inhabit in this realm, it might be a grasshopper.
Right.
It might be a tadpole.
Yeah.
It might be an acorn on a tree.
So I was reading in.
There you go. See, hey, so I think that the spirit force which creates life in this realm manifests itself in many forms,
right,
and that it keeps on repeating. We talked about the boat of millions and millions of years that keeps, just like the earth keeps turning around on its axis, just like the earth keeps going around and around and around the sun. I think the process of life keeps circulating itself around, and it manifests in different forms, and depending upon, what it did while it was here. I don't think an acorn always comes out of oak tree and die and then come back as an acorn. Sometimes, it's a great tree. The next time I think I'm going to make you a sheep.
Right. So on a smaller scale, brother, on a smaller scale, brother, I want to ask you, do we have that same power that the divine has to manifest something on a smaller scale here on Earth?
Good question. Oh man, great question. Listen, we are the recreators. You got the creator and us. We the recreators. It ain't nothing between us and the creator. But therefore, everything that tree, I can make a dining room table. I can build a house out of it. I can take and this soil and this cement and water became concrete. I mean, on this side of the veil, I am at the heap of the pile, right, and be able to take everything that I can find here and recreate it into something else, into a different form.
Yes.
That's what we can do. The ship out there on the sea, we learn how to take what looked like a rock, they call it iron ore. We learn how to melt it down and then make metal out of that, right, rock. The transformation, what they call alchemy, but today then they call it chemistry. Right. But again, it's learning how to take what is here and transform the elements. Right. With the four powers, heat, cold, water, and dry. With those four elements, you can transform everything here. You heat something up so much it melts. You freeze it, use water to cool it off. There you go. Dry with wet, what have you, add stuff to chemicals, put it in water, stir it, become something else. So we take the four processes, all right, and interact those four processes with any element that's here on this side of the veil, and we can transform it into something else.
Yeah, that's peace.
Yeah, we are the divine. We are the divine recreators. Yeah. Not just any recreator. We are the divine recreators. What do you call it? A termite can take stuff. When he finished on the side of a hill making this little hill, he's done some transformation of what was around him to make that anthill or that or that termite hill. So other forms can also do some recreation, but we're the ones that do it with a divine purpose. We can direct, we can change. See, nothing else on this side of the veil can do that but us. So yes, We have see like that's the divine spark in us. We are the divine's top creation.
Okay.
See, like
Yeah,
of
that was gonna be my
everything that
next
the
question.
divine created, I mean, Mother Earth itself, the sun, I mean, everything that's created. But at the top of the heap of the divine's creation, here stands man, especially the original black man of this earth. See, like in everybody else, whichever theory, like did a cataclysm happen, and then some black people turn white? Did some turn brown? Did some turn yellow? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, we weren't here.
We weren't here, right? I don't know what happened.
Theory.
I can only theorize.
Right.
But the one thing I know is the original of the originals on this planet walking around was the black man.
Right.
That's the one thing I agree with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The original is the black man. He's the Asiatic black man, but at the time of his theory, the oldest things they had found was in Peking, China.
Right.
So it appears that the oldest man was the Asian man. But today additional stuff has been found, and so we've
Even studies in China where they tried to find the bones that were like that, and they bones Chinese origin period. But every single person, every single thing that they studied went back to Africa.
It always does. It always does. I mean, it's like look. I know that the Earth is a living being herself. From time to time, she remakes herself.
Yes.
See, now here's a theory. I don't have any absolute proof, but I think from burp, what you call a volcano, burps up a whole lot of herself. She shakes a little bit, opens up splits and what have you. So the Earth remakes herself from time to time. Like I know that happens, right?
It's like Pangea, like it was.
Yeah, you go. At one time, if it was one solid mass of land. Yeah, you go. There you go. When you look at South America, you're fitting that into Africa. I mean, you can see it.
Yeah.
It takes a blind man to be able to not to be able to look at the globe and see how the pieces slide together.
Explain why we was everywhere.
There you go. See, that's what the original was already on the Earth before it started splitting and moving about.
Yeah.
But you got some folk who want to say now, like it had already split. Yeah, those are all. They don't know. It's all theoretical. So yes, indeed. So I definitely believe that the scientific method, starts with you questioning your observation and questions. See what you say? Observation by eyes, by hearing. There's an form of observation, tasting or smelling. Like the 7 doors to the inner temple. This temple. Like when you was a kid and you say, "Where's your temple?" Your mama told you, if somebody hit you in the temple, it could kill you. They always point to a place right here, right? See, this is our inner temple. That's up here in this thing. So from our inner and the door, 2, 4, 6, 7 doors to the inner temple. Those are how we observe the outer world.
Yeah, because the senses and the vibrations. The only reason the sensory factors even work because it's all vibrations.
Yeah. Well, hey, I like the way. Again, I like the way young Pharaoh presented that, talking about the vibration rate of everything out here in the universe.
Right.
And even us, we're vibrating at a certain wavelength to see each other. Even.
Yep,
There you go, like that whole bit. So I understand that. And the one thing that I just finished a major project this morning. Got it finished this morning. And from listening to some of the young folk on Baba TV and the other stuff on YouTube, I've been taking notes. Now I'm getting ready to go back and hit the books.
Right.
See, the Library of Congress is right down the street, the biggest library in the world. I'm getting ready to go down there. I don't want to use the internet. I'm going down there and go through the file.
Yeah.
I'm looking for some stuff now.
Right.
See, I want to get some additional information. You're never too old to learn. I want to get on the vibe to understanding in more depth some of the new information out here that's being highlighted by a lot of the younger brothers who are taking their scholarship and learning very seriously.
Okay.
I got a lot of respect for young folks. A lot of respect for young folks.
So I had a question about the main differences that you've seen, because one of my mottos, as King Leon Next, is protect a black woman and child. And I'm about to present that in a scholarly form, and then put a book out and a documentary. So I'm in the process of conducting, research. I interview a lot of women and things like that about, first off, if they feel protected or not. And I probably met 2 or 3 women through my whole study who will just flat out say, yeah, they feel protected. Everyone else, they say no. Same thing with the children. So in what ways can we mend some of that neglect? Just the treatment of the women now and how we treat our women as black men is completely different than how the black woman was treated by the black man in your time.
I agree. Well,
So tell me about it.
Well,
or it's borderline, because I don't know.
no, well, put it this way. Ever since the captivity, what they call the period of slavery, right? The one goal of the white man was to demean and dehumanize us, the black male. You know, like if we are just, like sexual objects to produce more offspring for him to work for free, that's the only use that we have to him, right? Right now, today, he is much, in his mind, he's much better off caging us and getting us away from the women. What he would like to do is have the time and space to have 100% access to all our women. See, so our problem is us, and that we haven't gotten our minds together because we've been constantly under attack since we've been here since 1619. All right, see, like we have to again decide what type of environment that we want to have for our queens and for our young princes and princesses.
Right.
You know, like our young men and young women that we bring into the world. We want all of our women to be queens.
Right.
See, if we look at them, I mean, you know, like in the context of a family, you the king of your castle.
Right.
Your woman is the queen of that castle, and your kids are being raised up in that. You want your young daughter to marry a young man who looks at her as a princess, with the highest value. And that's the kind of thing that we have to start teaching our young men. The biggest prize in the universe is for a young African man to land him an African princess, a queen. You know, like the mother of the universe herself, the mother of humankind herself. And each daughter represents that. And that's how we have to teach our daughters. Right. We have to teach our wives, teach our girlfriends, teach our women. You know, when I call you queen, I don't mean in the royal sense of domination. I mean from the standpoint that you are the queen of the universe. I mean,
the essence of
there you go. You are a set manifest.
Right.
You know, like, hey, it's you. That's what all that writing is trying to explain. That you are divine. You are the only vessel on this planet that can bring me back into existence. Through your womb, I am. Not through hers, not through theirs, it's through your womb the next black man is going to be. So I have to raise you to a pedestal and treat you, and I will kill and to protect you.
Right.
I will make sure that I will give up my life to ensure that you're going to live. And so that's how important you are. We have to elevate our women. The idea we've been made so sick. Again, with talking about our language and that we use, and going back to the hip hop. See, all of those brothers who think they bad, who call a sister a bitch, are sick.
Yeah.
See, they don't understand who the black woman is, and so they turn around and want to call the woman out of a term that was created outside of their language, outside of their culture, by somebody else to demean the woman. Why? What is going on in your head? Don't you know who that is? Who brought you into the universe, young black man, young hip-hop rapper? A black woman. You came through the vessel of a black woman. You don't think that your coming into this world was a divine act?
Right.
And then you want to turn around and demean the sister?
Yeah, the vessel.
You know? Yeah, you get the vessel. And what's wrong with you, brother? You so sick in the mind, you want to go home and start smacking your woman upside the head. What's this stuff about, brothers beating up their women?
Right.
Girls, I mean, there are women who live in what's called...
Stockholm Syndrome?
There you go. It's called... it's a psychological entrapment. They're entrapped. You know, that's their husband. They ain't gonna leave. They don't want to get beat up. They can just stay there. They watch the old man come home. The white man out here kicking his ass every day, making his turn back. He ain't got enough money, so he comes home mad. What do you want to do? You know, so he don't kick the dog and pat the kids. He kicked the kids and hit his wife upside the head. That's the kind of illness. But we have to make it almost a ministry to raising our women back up as the highest vessels that we interact with. That's the black man's role for the 21st century, because a well-educated and cared for black woman raises balanced, great children.
Yeah.
See, a sick woman, balanced children. See, a sick woman will raise an imbalanced kid. See, I've heard people talking about, I mean, hey, look, I grew up in a home. My father left home when I was 2 years old. See, it was just my mother and grandmother. I mean, I go to hell, I go to hell left and right, like in that situation. Because the man wasn't in the house to bring that balance and stuff, right? But the one thing that I know, that a frustrated sister also can be a very mean individual because of her frustrations. And there's nobody that frustrates a black woman more than a black man. See, and so it's our role. We got to understand the enemy is kicking our ass in order to be able to one day take over all of them.
All of our women.
Then we have the babies with the black women, and then the kids that grow up looking like that black man, and then he not there. So then now that's being all that energy, all that bad energy is being placed on the child. You know what I mean?
Hey,
the mom taking that energy out on the child. But it's really the dad that wasn't there. You know what I mean?
That's true.
We definitely got to step up.
But it starts with us, a handful of us, going out pleading with
Taking
our brothers,
responsibility.
taking responsibility, pleading with other black men. Whatever you do, let's elevate the sister in our minds.
Right.
See, understand the idea, the concept of what the black woman is at that level. And then when as you see her manifested in front of you, you know what behavior that you're supposed to display with her.
Yeah, because if you see her anything outside her righteous mind, if you know who she is, and you see her anything outside of her natural self, then we have to be smart and aware enough to know what happened to her.
That's true.
And we got to have the information and the strategies and processes to do what you just said, and to elevate her.
That's true.
And to get the results.
That's true.
So it's like we got to define the results and then define the systems. And I like how you said, because I never considered almost a ministry but that's what it's going to take.
That's what it's going to take.
That is what's going to take.
Because it's a spiritual task.
Yeah.
See, we got to go into the spirit of both the brothers to get them to change their spiritual attributes and how they express themselves, as well as to reinvigorate and raise the spiritual attributes of our women. We actually have to do that. Yes, sir. And I say this, Tuesday night, I got in a little bit of trouble. A friend of mine's wife, I stopped by the house, and the first time, I stopped over there in a while, and she had changed her hair and dyed it blonde. And she's a blind black woman. I walked in the house, right? And so she said, "Hey, Tuesday, how you like my hair?" I said, "I don't." I said, "What the hell is wrong with you? Why do you think that you look pretty by dyeing your hair after the people that's your mortal enemy?" See? And that I'll start with from Beyonce, and I'll go through whoever else. They're walking around here as symbols. They think they look pretty looking like a white woman. Now, it's been a whole, the whole, what do you call it, advertising industry, the Hollywood industry, all this shit out here pushing this thing that the blind has more fun. The blind is the top of the white man's women.
Right.
So what does the sister want to be? She wants to be the top woman somewhere too. Right. So she thinks by making herself look like the white woman, that somehow elevates her. Except when she's only elevated in the minds of the young brothers and the young men out here who are so addicted to just having sex. Right. All they want is some sex. And they'll tell her anything. They ain't, hey, you look good, but give me some. Yeah, I mean, that's all it's about. But the very fact, imagine if, being on the outside of our community looking in, and you got a group of people that take somebody, enslave them, discriminate against them, make them second class to them, and then these people to feel better about themselves, they decide, I want to look like you. There's a book a brother wrote back in the 80s. It's called The Black Anglo-Saxons. The brother's name is Nathan Hare. Just the title, The Black Anglo-Saxons. Right. Now, just imagine one of your ancestors that was in slavery being able to know where you are today and look at you and say, damn, there you go, you're a black white man. Damn, man.
Negro pen.
There you go. Negro pen. I love it. Negro pen.
Negro pen. Yeah.
That's a good term. I love it. But that's the insanity with which we are living our experiences today. See, and again, it is insane. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And hey, now Miss B, as they call her, got millions of bucks. She's married to a man with $1 billion, they say, right? So I'm a little poor little dude down here in D.C. with barely got two $5 bills to rub together to make a 10. So if money is the symbol of how successful you are, you would almost think, well, they is that power couple. They can say, well, hey, you little poor nigga, what you say don't matter.
And they did just Barbie and Ken for Halloween instead of going ahead and making 2 black Barbie dolls in their image and giving us that. You know what I mean?
Nah, they sick. See, they're sick. I mean, imagine if for one moment that a couple with that much wealth and that kind of influence over the industry and a whole generation of young folks, imagine if they were educated. See, they've got some social engineering in their minds, but they are not educated. And for a brother who grew up on the streets, and they understand if the story is correct, I know some brothers. Let me put it this way: I know a good brother here from D.C. Hey, he grew up, he was slinging drugs and what have you. Hey, making plenty of money. Selling both herb and that cocaine stuff. We warned him to stay away from that, right? But he did, and he piled up a whole bunch of money. Unfortunately, he ended up getting shot in the back of the head. All that, was taken away from him. Right. But at the same time, he would come by the store, and I'm trying to get, brother, but look, you got enough money. Get out of the business. Now let's take their wealth and get some education and let's do something creative with it. It ain't, how many millions do you want? Imagine if the NBA players, all these imagine if they just, hey, one $20 million contract and I quit. I got enough money. $20 million 20 years ago, that's super rich for people in our community. But these guys get the money. They let their Jewish lawyers and Jewish agents decide where they're gonna invest their money for tax write-offs. Mm-hmm. And they let their agent and their lawyers decide. These boys are giving money to the Jewish Defense League. They're giving money to all kind of stuff that they don't know nothing about. But they're trusting their agent and trusting their lawyer because all of their lives they was playing basketball or running up and down the field. Poverty. There you go. In poverty, playing ball, hoping to make it to the big time. Hey, congratulations, you great physical specimen that made it to the top heap of athletics. Now get some education. Put that money away. Reinvest in your community. Stop letting these people invest your money in their community for your tax write-off. Woo! Right. See?
Hey, that's where it was a book. I forget who wrote it, but it was talking about the $40 million slave or something like that. And it was addressing that same topic.
Okay, the $40 million slave, Baba.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's what it is. Yeah. That's what they are, modern slaves.
They was talking about how they was comparing like the NFL combine and all that. It's just like auction, like the auction block. Like, hey, see how fast you can jump, how strong you are. Let me see how quick you can move.
Look here.
And then we gonna bid on you.
Right. I know a brother.
We're gonna buy you, and then we're gonna own you.
I know a brother in New York that's a jeweler. After he finished his other career, he went and learned the art of jewelry making, what have you. Baba Samaj, the studio of Patah, right? And he makes some beautiful jewelry. But do you realize that most actors and athletes have made a Jewish jeweler in New York, the richest jeweler in New York, because they don't feel they are somebody if they don't have this New York Jews jewelry around their neck. Right. That's how sick some of our brothers are. See, now here's a brother got the business he's learned. He's got some beautiful stuff. But they won't buy from him. See, in order to feel like they somebody, gold is gold. Whether it's 18, 24 karat, whatever. Gold is gold, right? But they feel good if they got Jewish Dave's jewelry on.
Brand is like, we still getting branded. That's a whole nother thing. Whips, it's still Whips.
There you go.
Changing the name, Whips.
Thank you, I love
chains, still chains,
there
right?
There you go. Round and
right?
Go. Another way.
And branding, right?
Yep. Yeah.
They used to brand us.
Yeah, what they call it. Yeah. Now they call it tattooing.
Yeah. Now they call it even tattooing, and even if I was Nike, Nike, Jordan, all that. You know what I mean? It's like we still picking cotton in the form of clothes.
Well, again, those of us without resources, but without material resources in terms of wealth in this system, their money, right? But who have taking time to study and understand that the masses of black people are still in a very poor condition in the United States of America. And we need to do some things to change our condition. See, unlike the brothers, I was telling the brother earlier, when it comes to the question of reparations, all right? In In 1976, the group Funkadelic put out a record about Washington, D.C. It was called Chocolate City. Yeah, about 76% of the population of this city was black. Yep. All right, hey.
I hear that a lot.
That's true. It was bad. Damn near all black city. Mm-hmm. You know how many institutions we built in this city during that time, and how many are left?
Nah, I don't.
One. One church, Willie Wilson's church, over on W Street in Southeast Washington. See, everything else, there's one business that's around in 1959 when I was growing up here, like Ben's Chili Bowl. That's down on U Street, what used to be Black Broadway. Now, damn near 90% of the businesses on U Street are owned by white people.
Yeah, I was watching a documentary on that, and it was talking about specifically homosexual white men. Ooh. And that money. Mm-hmm. They said it's only like 3 black businesses left on U Street, and it used to be hundreds.
Used to be called. I'm serious. From 1920s up through the 1965, it was Black Broadway. Everything down there was black. But you're right. But it's not just the invasion of those homosexuals into the city, but the banks in this city very quietly used a process called giving urban pioneer loans.
Urban pioneer loans.
Yeah. Now, in all cities with large black populations, who do you think an urban pioneer is?
Whites that don't live there.
There you go. And so to entice them to move into the city, I'm going to give you a $150,000 loan at a 2% interest rate. Now, if you show up and ask for a loan to buy that house, I'm going to charge you 14% interest. So you probably, hey, they can't afford the payment, so you ain't going to get it. But very quietly, see, this other person is getting that loan at a 2% rate, enticing them to move back into the city. See, those are things
that's what they're doing in Detroit a lot right now.
Yeah, of course. The formula worked. The formula worked here in the nation's capital. It's working in Harlem in New York. And again, all those brothers walking up and down the street, standing on the corner with the lectures and talking stuff. At the same time, the white men are coming and buying this. And a whole lot of them, and a whole lot of the buildings were always owned by white folks, and we only rented the buildings and we rented the space to have our stores in them. But we never took ownership of it to make it ours.
Right.
And now today,
that's the next step.
That should be the step.
Watkins be talking about
ownership. See, so like the back in 1998, we had a lecture series here called The Plan, and during that lecture about the plan, what was brought out, well, white folks have a plan to take their nation's capital back. They talked about it. They were embarrassed over the fact that this is the only capital of a major Western power that's not run by white people.
And what did you say? The owner of the Washington Post said it was an insult?
It was an insult to them, right. Her name was Katharine Graham. She was the owner of the Washington Post newspaper and president of the Federal City Council. Now, the Federal City Council is a private group of citizens that work behind the scenes that actually run the city.
Right.
Yeah. Not the city. The city council and those folks is not them.
Yeah,
right?
they just the puppets.
So when Funkadelic put out the record, it was an embarrassment to them, the white people here in the city, the fact that a record like that would be said about their nation's capital. So they devised a 25-year plan to take their capital back. Now, ever since the 90s, yeah, I'm serious. Now ever since the 90s, I've been running around doing lectures and speeches. Every time I got up, telling the people about this plan, these people gonna take their capital back. We were talking about this before it was fully a fait accompli. Right. Let's do something to hold on to this. Let's create a plan for maintaining ourselves here. Now, we ain't talking about that, man. We want to do this, we want to do that. So, okay, so it's my fault because I knew and I didn't develop the type of lecture or speech or program to inform my people correctly. So I'll take responsibility for that, even though I think I speak very clearly. And I had one of the brothers, in fact, told me outright, man, we ain't interested in that, man. Tuda, you talking about something, we want to do this.
Yeah, that's how they was treating Neely Fuller, too.
Yes, they were.
I heard you mention him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, his work so relevant.
Hey, man, so relevant. Like I said, how we use language is very important. You don't even realize. You can say some things and put yourself in a hole. I don't know the details about what happened in the music business, back in the day when hip hop was growing, and somebody made the decision that gangster rap was the theme, and they made sure that the guys like the brother from Philly, Will Smith. My mama bought me some clothes one day to go to school, whatever that hip hop was, and Kid, there you go, there you go. And remember, and Kid and Play, remember that hip hop Kid and Play? They was dancing and having fun, jump, you know, good. I mean, the same concept, but fun and good music. And then all of a sudden, somebody came up with West Coast, East Coast, and the only thing we're gonna allow to be played is gangster shit. What's that boy that, is he in jail now? The one that was riding with Suge Knight?
Yeah.
See, like all of a sudden, characters start getting involved in this thing, and now the leading hip-hop artists, instead of being creative, talking about creative things for our community, come up with lyrics to who can be the hardest, who can come up with the hardest shit to say, and put in a record and put out, I got this playing on the air, and look at this negative thing I'm talking about. So we take the negative, or an aspect of our community, take the negative and raise it up and elevate it to a level of importance.
Right. And they use our dumbest rappers from the community, like Lil Wayne. They pushing Lil Wayne right now. They asking a question about Black Lives Matter. They asking a question about Black Lives Matter. Y'all doing that on purpose in the media because y'all know you're gonna get an idiotical response out of Lil Wayne. Right, you're not gonna ask a David Banner or somebody what Black Lives Matter because you know they're gonna speak truth to power. You know what I mean?
Go ask Common.
Right.
Or somebody like that, instead of asking somebody who got a commercial on TV going around pouring champagne on a phone.
Right.
You know, like that's I mean, see, people don't understand.
And then at the same time, shifted the whole entire culture of he got a generation of black men and women and children captured by his messaging for a complete decade.
Right.
You know what I mean? And every single one of Lil Wayne's white fans that he loves so much, I'm pretty sure have some interest or stake in Black Lives Matter. I'm sure that they're the type of white people who, you know, are at least saying something about that too. You know what I mean?
I do.
Just because of we have to recognize that I like to call the 3% of the white population who was born and raised right next to us.
Okay.
You know what I mean? My pops always told me, my pops from Mississippi, he got beat up by the KKK and all that, whole bunch of little different stuff. So he already told me, you feel me, they're always lying, you feel me? They're trying to get you at any moment. But that didn't stop me from being in homeroom in high school and basketball, football teams and all that type of stuff with these other different types of groups. And what I realized as a social scientist and interviewing all these different types of people, some white people, like their greatest memories of their life can't exist without black people. You know what I mean? And so so that's why I'm about to start talking about like a 3%. Because I can't give them more than that, right? Because we already know, because we've been fooled too many times by tricks.
That's true.
And gifts and all that type of stuff. But there is a generation that we have no type of idea where they really at.
Yeah, and where they gonna end up going.
Yeah, because they literally, like I said, their greatest memories of their life include black people.
Hey, I understand that, but
in a positive light.
But right now, while they don't own a home,
right,
they ain't making no bill, they ain't paying no bills and stuff. A lot of them probably still living at home with their parents.
Exactly.
See,
they don't have any power to.
There you go. They can be liberal and nice to everybody.
Right.
But when they get to the
I think about though the white fans that Lil Wayne created, he gave them a little black world. You go to a Lil Wayne concert, you're gonna see a bunch of white fans there. Look, I just seen Lil Uzi on the internet. He's getting chased. He's getting chased around, and white people want to tackle him for some reason. Like, why is that? Like, they take the lower end of our culture and take the most ignorant rappers they can, glorify it, and then the white kids, the millennials, my age, they get the idea that that's all of us. You know what I mean? That becomes a culture. And they expect that from us.
Okay. See, like they do that because then they can continue to control the industry. See, like it's like like when we began to wake up and these guys began to create their own labels, going to sing on their own label. They were no longer going to go sign with CBS Records and Atlantic Records and all these old white companies that previously existed. That was a threat to not only their control of the industry, but it was a threat to their control of the money flow.
Right.
And stuff. There you go. So I mean, so a company like Time Warner, decided to get involved. They hired this sister, I can't remember her name, to be head of the black record division. And she went out and she hired some dudes to go out, and start recruiting, artists to come sing, and then start telling, and no, not your stuff, and then they start preparing scripts for them to rap, as opposed to their own creative energy writing the lyrics for what they were going to do. See, once again, the system that controls the music is because, young folks like music so much, it's a multi-billion-dollar annual industry. They're not going to let that money be in your neighborhood. Right. See, they were interested in making sure the money kept going where it was going when, back in the old days, when jazz was created. Miles and all those brothers, they're, hey, great musicians of the 40s and 50s, yeah, but all the money went to the white music companies. Just like today, there's an old saying that the white man's ice is colder. See, there you go. Look here. In 1896, the Supreme Court passed this law, Plessy versus Ferguson, that the society must be separate, all right? And in a separate society, we had to have our own shit. So we built our own economy. Everything that existed, we built for ourselves, all right? Hey, until they found how successful it was.
God.
Yeah.
Fresh.
Peace, God.
Hey, the link up is real.
All right. Hey. It just got real. We got another God in it.
Baba Tehuti right here.
How you doing, young man?
Peace, bro.
Yeah, so all the black businesses that we had to build to take care of ourselves between 1896 and 1965, where are they today? We couldn't go to the white restaurant. We couldn't go to the white store. So we had all our own shit. Right. All of it we had because we were forced to. But then once the Civil Rights Act was passed, then that word started spreading, the white man's ice is colder. Right. So all these black folks, look here, the best theater in Washington, D.C. for black music was called the Howard Theater down at 7th and T Street Northwest, right? As soon as the law was passed, a bunch of brothers, 3 of them being black police officers from what I was told, they formed a group, Dimensions Unlimited, and they started taking shows from the Howard Theater and put them downtown in the Constitution Hall. Now, Constitution Hall is the place that in the 1940s, one of the most beautiful black women opera singers that this country ever produced, her name was Marian Anderson. They barred her from coming in. She had to go outdoors and sing out on the mall because they wouldn't let her come in the building. So as soon as the man said, okay, you can use our stuff, instead of saying, let's put some money and fix up the Howard, let's stay at the Howard, they got black folks started taking the black entertainment to a white venue. Right. And then the second one was the Warner Theater down on 13th Street. Then that became the second place. And so what happened to the Howard Theater? It goes down and it goes out of existence. Yeah. See, like the restaurants, we had places, when I graduated from high school, took my girl to the prom, there was this restaurant, what was it called? Westbrook's, all right, out in Northeast, one of the few black places you could go, right? But as soon as you could go, now all the brothers want to go to the white restaurant with their girls after the high school prom. So what happened to the black restaurant? It goes out of business. Right. See, like, that's what I'm talking about. See,
some even the business owners themselves, even let's talk about ice, the black man who makes ice, right? Who starts hearing the integrations happen, the white man's ice is colder. He don't even want to make ice anymore.
That's true.
He just want to buy. He shut down his whole business just because his dollar's green too, and he could go spend it with the white man. That's because we missed the economics.
That's the illness of being what I call socially engineered. Not educated, but you socially engineer people to turn against their own best interests. See, we killed the black people killed the black economy in Washington, D.C. White folks didn't come in and do nothing to it. Black folks did it by leaving it alone and going to white businesses. White folks didn't put out no signs and no big banners. All right, black people, come spend your money with us. They didn't have to do that. See, again, when you has a man that is so sick in his head that you can put him on automatic and he's gonna come give you his wealth. That's his goal. See, so now once you plant that idea, the white man's ice is colder in many ways. So as soon as we open the door, so all the black folks just started going, giving the white people all their money. So the whole 7th Street, all those businesses went out of business. U Street, all the businesses went out of existence. We killed the black economy by deciding that we will have some kind of social status by being able to spend our money at a white establishment. Right. That's a mental illness that we have. So rather than stand up on a podium and holler and raise my hand, Black Power, the man did this to us, and the man did that to us, all I'm going to do is raise your adrenaline level and get the testosterone start flowing through your veins and get you to going, yeah, see?
Right.
Because I'm hollering and shouting emotional stuff. I ain't offered you nothing to solve your problem.
Right.
See, and that's the nature of today's people who want to get up on the podium and be leaders.
Right. Exactly.
See, they ain't got no plan
No
to change
system,
anything,
no system.
but what they have is they call charisma to be up in front of the crowd. And so their ego is being satisfied because they up in front of a crowd and they got the control of the crowd, responding to their like the phrases that they're yelling.
Right.
So going back again, so yeah, number one, back to it, the women. We have to raise the level of the woman in our minds. She is the queen mother of the universe.
Right.
She brings life through her vessel. Our next sons is coming through her.
Facts.
They ain't coming through Miss Ann, they coming through her. See? So she's the one that we have to elevate. Number two, at the same time, while we're doing that, we have to create our own ministry where we're addressing young black men in terms of who the black woman is and where she needs to be in our mindset, so that we'll stop dogging them and belittling them and just taking advantage of them so that we can get a nut. See, we think, hey, every dog out here running through this park can get a nut. Can find a dog and screw it to have a nut. Just having a nut ain't nothing so spectacular that it ought to be at the top of our list of things that we want to do. As human beings and thinkers, there's a time for us to get a nut. There's a time for us to create a family and use our energies for that purpose. But just being like a wild animal running around just having sex, unbeknownst, creating babies, and then going out and then going sitting up in a prison while that child is being raised by a single mother on welfare somewhere in very poor housing conditions is only creating a negative situation for both the woman and the child. So our ministry has to be with us. We have to lift up the mentality of the black man.
Yeah, the restoration of confidence.
There you go. There you go. Well, brothers, look, I've enjoyed this.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, Baba TV, he got a lot of tape. That he's got a lot of video that he's going to have to go back to Syracuse and edit. That's my man. I love this brother. And again, I want to shout out to Sa and Baba. I love the way that you all have taken this new technology by the horns. Nobody gave you permission. Nobody sent you to a classroom to learn how to do this. You all were able to look at your environment around you and look at what was going on and create something that is impacting the minds of young black people, not just here in the United States of America, but these brothers are international. I mean, I've seen stuff coming to this brother from London. Praise the brother and what have you, And from him just standing up in front of I've seen his beginnings of his videos transform and grow. I've seen a cat just painting something and the next thing, it's a picture on the wall. I mean, the technology that they're employing. We can do this.
Yep.
We can do this. In fact, there is nothing that we can't do.
Right. Especially if we know how to read.
There you go. There ain't nothing that we can't learn to do.
Mm-hmm.
See, hey, everything is at our command if we decide we want to make it so. Again, the original of the originals. Everything else came second.
Hey.
All right. A shout out. Black Power.
Hey,
Black Power.
All right. Baba
Power.
TV.
Baba TV.